Hello and welcome back to the Spin the Rod podcast. I'm your host Angel, and with me today is my co-host.
Will Smith look-alike. Not talking about the baseball player, but you can just call me Vaughn.
Which Will Smith are you talking about, Devon? If it's not the baseball player, which I still wouldn't have thought that either.
Well, let's just say they don't call him a part of the franchise, the Good Boys. All right, that Will Smith.
I always said you kind of remind me of a Fresh Prince. So, all right,
Uh,
it's been a while. We have a lot to cover. We're actually at the end of the conference semifinals. So Game 7 for Pistons and Cavs is tomorrow, I think. So, because I think now they've been taking a day in between the games now. So, but with that being said, we still have a lot to cover. All the other series has finished since we last met up, even the round one. So we have a lot to cover. Um, why don't we get right into it? First off, before we go into series themselves, how do you feel about this round, Vaughn, the second round?
Nothing I could predict, bro. Nothing. Just from game to game, not just like series-wide, game to game. I'm just like, this is how it feels to have, that parity. Minus, Thunder Lakers, because the Thunder are a different beast. But I'm like, there was a good shot the Timberwolves could have pulled it out, I felt.
Yeah,
Just injuries have kind of set them back in certain aspects. Anthony Edwards obviously didn't have, his legs fully underneath him.
yeah,
Even the Sixers, bro, them getting swept, I could not have seen that coming. I thought they'd at least get one.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's a strong possibility for 2 games. No, bro, it wasn't even a competitive series. They got dog walked. Um, and then obvious, obviously, Pistons, Cavs. It's just like a big. Who's gonna mess up worse? It's not like I feel like each team is succeeding. It's like, okay, this team is just blowing everything up in their own face and losing games, and it's going to 7 games.
Yeah.
So the second round is just you get a little bit of something new with each series.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I feel the complete opposite. I tune out of the second round except for Timberwolves Spurs. Um, I think I think all the games were good, but I think the basketball being played was much better in the first round than it was the second round. And it seemed like the second round was just more drama, except for Spurs Timberwolves. Everything I'm saying does not apply to Spurs Timberwolves. Spurs Timberwolves is hands down the best series of the second round. Might even say the best
Mhm.
series of the playoffs so far. Um, it's just been pure ball. But the other series, I feel like there's been more drama from those other series and more like just bad basketball than like anything else. Um, and I'll start off. Why don't we go into those series more with Pistons Cavs just because that's the only one that's not finished. This proves our point that whoever wins the West is gonna win it all. We have the Pistons, probably the worst looking first seed that I've ever seen in the playoffs. And that includes the Utah Jazz, who would get swept. That includes that Hawks team. Like this team has been fighting for their lives against teams that they should be head up, like shoulders above, bro. Like there should be no reason why the Magic took you to 7. No reason why you had to even make a comeback in the series. And now the Cavs are taking you to 7, and you also had to make a comeback in this series as well. Like Cade, he's looking, phenomenal. He's looking like he deserves to be on this stage. Everyone else, it's like they just forgot how to play basketball. And this should be the opposite because last year they looked better last year than they did this year, and they lost in the first round. Like it's actually insane. The Cavs are also like they're atrocious, bro. They're worse than the Magic. Like I think the Cavs, like if it was Magic Cavs, Cavs would have lost. Like this is like also really bad basketball coming from them as well.
Yeah, I think you and me both kind of predicted Jaren Duran not being 100% of what he was in the regular season was it's what we expected. I don't think it's what everyone else expected, but now that it's actually happening, it's just like really two series long and he's had one decent game.
Yeah, decent too.
Like last game was like his best game and it's 15 and like 10 or 11 rebounds. Which is still beneath his regular season numbers by the way.
Yeah,
He's but they win, they'll take it, they kind of need that in whatever form it takes, it's just shout out Tobias Harris has been the number two guy for a good amount of those games.
yeah,
I don't think anyone really expected that happening, but it shouldn't have happened. And it kind of just goes to show they're not a team ready for a deep run in the playoffs. Because honestly, it's been luck that their opponents have been as bad as they have been, and then Cade can't do it all. And there are certain games where some players do pick it up. Like Duncan Robinson had a great game in the series. Dennis Jenkins has shown spurts of very good basketball, but then uh, to shift focus from them to the Cavs, bro, they're losing. There's no way they're winning Game 7. There just can't be a way. After seeing Donovan Mitchell's last game was a stinker. James Harden still struggles with turnovers like crazy.
yeah,
Like last game, like at least he got his points, but like the turnovers are continuing to be an issue. Evan Mobley still, isn't this, aggressive player. Like he would feast if he really was. And Jarrett Allen, I want to say, has been, I can't say it's been in years past where like the lights were too bright. He's generally done good work against Jalen Duren, but at the same time, there are some games I just don't feel his presence as well.
yeah,
I don't know. I just don't know why it all can't come together for either of these teams. It's you get bits and pieces of who they could be, but never the full picture.
yeah. I think the problem with the Pistons is that they're taking turns being the second man. It's like none of them are all performing at the same time. It's like it's always Cade, and then who's gonna step up this game? Whether it's Duncan Robinson, Tobias Harris, uh, you know, it, during last game, but like it just seems like none of them are playing at the level that they have been all year. They don't look as cohesive as they once did. They look a lot more sloppy, and it really does look like it's like they're drawing names out of a hat to be the second man in that game, and that's not gonna get you to the finals. Like, let alone win the finals. It won't even get you there. Like they're not looking like a cohesive team. Whilst the Cavs just look like it's just very sloppy. It's just very sloppy basketball, and that was kind of the case against the Raptors too. But it looks like it got worse rather than better, where it's just like turnovers, missed shots, stupid mistakes, um, you know, bad taken shots. Like it just seems like they're. It looks like they're afraid to lose this series, and so they're playing. They're playing so not aggressively, but like I don't know how I'm trying to say what I'm trying to say, but they're not. It looks like they're so afraid of losing the series that they're just not thinking about winning it. It's like they're making dumb decision after dumb decision. They're taking bad shots, and it's just like, what's going on with this Cavs team? Like this does not look like a team who is a well-oiled playoff machine. It looks like
Yeah,
they're stumbling
it's
their
like
way here.
yeah, they don't have confidence. It
Yeah,
feels like,
it,
especially compared to better teams we've seen in the playoffs. You
yeah.
just see it on the court.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, I think the Pistons are gonna win because like at least they're playing like better. Whether it's not good still, but they're definitely playing better than the Cavs. Um, but I think if it's Pistons Knicks Pistons Cavs or Knicks Cavs, Knicks are gonna win that series. Especially from what we saw them in Knicks Sixers. Knicks won 4-0. They're officially in the conference finals. Um, and they kind of handedly beat the Sixers. I don't think any of the games were close whatsoever. I mean, Game 4 was 144 to 114. Like, that's actually insane stat line. Um, so I'm also shocked. You mentioned that you're shocked that the Sixers got swept. I'm also like actually so surprised that happened because they were looking really decent and against Boston, and I know Boston kind of did that thing where they shot themselves in the foot, but also they also looked like a decent team. And we were talking about how if Joel Embiid comes back, it might be worse for the Sixers, but it looks like he fit right in. And then we get to the Knicks series, and then it looks like what we were concerned about happened in this series instead. How did you feel about the Knicks Sixers?
I thought Joel Embiid would have been a bigger problem for Karl Anthony Towns to guard,
Yeah,
but there were enough double teams they could throw at him that it just threw him off his game. And I don't know why we delude, well, not me or you, but people, fans, delude themselves into thinking if Joel Embiid had one healthy season, he could go far. That's just never, ever going to happen. Like the appendectomy, like that's just such a surprise thing that was sprung on him. That's just his luck.
yeah,
For him to have even played all of last series is incredible. But once I saw that series went to seven, I'm like, neither of these teams are probably have enough steam in them to win round two.
yeah,
And this just manifested in a sweep, unfortunately. There, I mean, we say it every year. It's time for the Sixers to move on from Joel Embiid, or vice versa, Joel Embiid to move on from the Sixers, however you want to take it. But we've just seen the extent of how this franchise can go with that man. And I seen, you know, VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey in the first round won a game without Embiid, and it's such a different style of play they play
yeah,
versus him on the court. I kind of just want to see them commit to that,
yeah.
be it like roster moves or just let them play the speed they want because it's such a slower game with Embiid out there. I think it's definitely ripe for that era. Like run this team back without Joel Embiid and the proper support for VJ and Tyrese Maxey. Um, and they're probably a faster team, and they might have a better shot come next playoffs. Like I don't know if the Knicks could compete with a faster pace Sixers with Maxey and VJ Edgecombe.
Yeah.
Um, but now that Daryl Morey's gone, I'm pretty sure it's maybe the direction they're heading towards.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's time to start building around this player who hasn't played more than like 30 games in a season for the past like 5 years. It's you can't build around someone who's never gonna be there. And then not only that, but like you mentioned, VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey's game flows together so well. Like you can definitely see that their games complement each other. And then when you put Joel Embiid in there, he kind of puts a wrench in both of their games. It doesn't. It's not just that the pace is slowed down. It's just I feel like he doesn't gel well with either of them. And now especially now that Tyrese Maxey has come into his own, he's no longer just the this is the young star that can finally help him beat. It looks like this is the guy who can win games himself. He is a star of a team now. He is no longer that second fiddle that help to Embiid. If anything, it's more like Maxi's team than it is Embiid's. Um, so I think it is time to kind of build around Maxi and Edgecombe, around that faster pace of play, and then just kind of see what you can get out of Embiid. See if a contender is willing to have someone like that on their team because I feel like that's kind of his only option. It's like he has to go to a contender because he doesn't have the durability to have a team built around him. Like I don't think teams like the Heat, Hornets, those teams that need a couple more pieces, like those teams aren't gonna do him any good. He needs like contenders, guys who are gonna win any season now, and I feel like the Sixers got to pull that trigger. I don't know if they will, but I feel like they should.
Yeah, bro, they didn't hesitate to get Jared McCain out there, but they won't do that for Joel Embiid. It's crazy.
It is crazy. Also, yeah, we'll get to that here soon. But yeah, it is kind of wild that Jared McCain got traded in his second season, but Joel Embiid hasn't played more than like I don't think he's played 82 games in the past 3 years, like total. Like if you add up every total game in the past 3 years, it might not equal 82.
Yeah, bro. Oh, and especially like this team was never really a true contender because they just had no bench, and you could see that, and especially in the second round. But
Yeah,
certainly that Jared McCain trade did not help, especially when you got no player in return
yeah,
that was like
yeah,
a rotational piece. So yeah.
yeah. And then we gotta talk about the Knicks because even though the Sixers looked sad, the Knicks looked insane. Uh, like 4-0, 137-98 in the first game, close game in the second game, 108-94 in game three, and then that sensational 144-114 that like broke the internet. Um, I mean, this team, I don't think they're gonna win the finals, but they are looking a lot better than they ever have before. And it's just on enough. It's just like Jalen Brunson. It like keeps showing that he's an offensive monster, but I don't think they have the defense to win a finals. Is kind of what I'm thinking right now. How do you feel about the Knicks and the way they've been performing?
Um, I felt good about putting OG Anunoby in my top 25 players, and he's been like the second leading scorer for them, I think,
Yeah,
through the playoffs. And they need that man to get healthy. I know he's been out with some sort of leg injury, but they've had such long rest. I'm hoping he at least you know misses only one game at most in the next series, because they definitely do need him. It's so funny because like in that first series against the Hawks when they lost, two, it really felt like there was dysfunction going on,
hmm,
especially when Mikal Bridges misses every shot.
yeah,
But he's since found a way to be a factor in these games. Deuce McBride has been big off the bench, and then Carlton Towns has been solid through these first two rounds. So, whoever comes out of Pistons, Cavs, I'm not feeling very confident over the Knicks.
yeah,
So we might see New York go fucking crazy if just for reaching the finals. And it's been decades since this has ever happened. So I'm ready to see, the clips of Knicks fans going crazy because they already are going crazy, and it's been like a pretty much a cakewalk for the most part to get to this point.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and then to top it off, we did say, whoever wins the West wins it all. And the Knicks, as good as they've been through these couple rounds, just don't have enough in them to beat either the Spurs or, OKC. I just don't see that happening.
yeah. Like all props to the Knicks. They definitely have pulled everything together, and it seems like they're firing on all cylinders. But man, like when you look at the competition in the East, like OKC and the Spurs look like the Knicks won't have an answer, just because like they're so much more complete than any of the teams in the East. Like every team in the East has something wrong with them, and not like oh they're kind of bad at 3 point shots like the OKC team. Like they're not the best at 3 point shots, but like it's more like oh this team has a bad turnover rate. No one is showing up besides Cade. The Knicks like they are offensively amazing, but their defense has been kind of lackluster. Like it's just like every team in the East kind of have like one big glaring problem. And so I feel like the Knicks have just been able to outscore every team they face. Like literally all of their games that they've won is because they just like offensively was on a whole nother level. But then you also look at, you know, if they get any pushback on defense, I think they might struggle. And OKC and Spurs are so defensively sound that like outscore, outshoot everyone we see might not work.
Yeah, and we've seen teams get very frustrated with, the fouls and OKC, and I feel like the Knicks team would just fall right into that trap of like
Oh yeah,
yapping at refs and then not focusing on the game itself and, kind of like lose sight of, how to win the game.
yeah, I
They
agree.
feel like a team that would do that. Maybe they're not, maybe they prove me wrong, but that's yet to be seen.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, you know, they're also such a kind of a young team. They're also kind of hot headed. So I feel like, yeah, if they face the Thunder, those fouls are definitely gonna get them so heated. Um, but yeah, I think the Knicks are looking good, and they definitely. I'm definitely excited to see how they're gonna look in the finals. Cause I'm sorry, bro, I had no faith in the Pistons or the Cavs. If like,
Well, if the Knicks lose, this will have been a failure of a season. To
yeah,
have fired Tom Thibodeau and to end up right where you were last year, uh, and like this being your easiest season to get to the finals. Like you never know what's happening next year. Giannis could be, on another contender in the East. Who knows?
yeah,
But like, if you somehow don't get to the finish line, and the finish line is just reaching the finals, I don't know what you do as the Knicks.
yeah. You
I don't know if you
gotta.
could just run it back. Like something would shift.
Well, they ran it back like what 3 times now. Like you can't just
Yep.
run it back. Like you took that major swing when you traded, um, Cat and Randall. That was a big deal. But like, it's been 3 years since then, if I'm not mistaken. You can't just go. Well, we gotta try it again. Like, no, at this point, you need another big swing. Like,
Mhm.
if you've been to the conference finals so many times, you can't get over that hump. Especially if it's against the Pistons, who've been poor all playoffs. Like, something has to change. But I doubt that will happen, bro. I'm gonna be so honest. If the Knicks lose to the Pistons or the Cavs, I will literally come onto this show with a picture of Donovan Mitchell or Cade Cunningham on my chest. Like, that shit is not happening.
Yeah, I got to make some calls, bro. I got to make that happen.
It's time to start throwing that millions you've earned.
Yeah, my spin the rock money.
Yeah, it's been the rock buddy. All right. Heading over to the West, this is fully decided. It's OKC Spurs in the conference finals. Why don't we start with the OKC Lakers because that was probably the least interesting of the series. 4-0 OKC. And I'm not going to lie, bro. I think I saw more clips of people complaining about the fouling than I did actual highlights from those games. And the Lakers kept it close every game up until the fourth quarter. Like, yeah, they got swept 4-0, but like, they were low key ahead almost every game going into the fourth. And then they just fumbled the ball. But I heard nothing about that. I saw more clips of fouls, the players complaining about fouls, slow mo of the fouls. Like, it's just like this series completely lost the plot.
Yeah, even like that end of the game, Austin Reeves confronting the ref for being disrespectful. I'm like, if this is like the big takeaway from these games, I like this, like you said, is the least interesting of the series. And it's funny because like the Sixers were complete blowouts, and I know you weren't so into that, but like I felt more invested in that than I did OKC
Yeah.
Lakers. Part of it is like it's David versus Goliath here. We kind of already knew OKC would be the winner here, especially if Luca wasn't going to come back. And if Luca was back, I don't know how much of a chance they would have still. Um, like it's impressive that LeBron was as good as he was through these playoffs at his age. I do hate every sports page is basically like LeBron's accomplishments throughout his years, like acting like he's already retired. Like we'll get to that point when we get to it. Are we going to keep doing this every single year that he doesn't announce his retirement? Because we did this last year as well. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
we
sure.
did.
So I'm pretty over seeing that stuff. But shout out OKC, man. Just they're like literally 15 deep on the roster. Every guy could play the game.
It's insane.
Uh,
I'm glad you're saying that, bro. I'm glad you're saying that because I feel like the if you didn't actually watch this series, you wouldn't have known that OKC would have dominated the Lakers either fucking way, bro. Cuz all of their players are so good at the game of basketball, it's infuriating. We were talking about Jared McCain. I kind of wanted to stay away from talking about Jared McCain because of this sole reason. That man, you would have thought this man was a bum with the way the Sixers treated him. Treating him like trading him away for a bag of chips and a kiss on the cheek. No, bro. That man is so cold coming off the bench. Like he is offensively so he's like an engine. He comes off the bench. He keeps the game running. He can make baskets. He's not that bad on defense, but like it's obviously he's there so that way they can keep the offensive moving. And then he comes off the bench, and then the starters just kind of keep the train rolling. And it's like, bro, that like he literally is the battery in their offense when the starters are off the court, and it's crazy. Like it's actually insane that like the OKC have a player like that on their team now.
yeah, there's no egos whatsoever, bro.
No.
Like Aaron Wiggins had a lot more shine, I think, in the earlier series and even in the regular season, but like you don't see him pissed off. No one's mad. Like we know we do this. Like if
Yeah.
it's his turn, it's his turn. If it's my turn, it's my turn. So that's what's so scary is that nothing is gonna break internally and ruin this franchise from the inside out. Like teams are gonna have to compete with a full roster of competitive players. And I don't know if a team is like financially or like even just smart enough to build something similar to that. Like
Yeah.
there's the Spurs, as good as they have been, but I don't think they're 15, you know, rotational pieces there. So you're gonna have to hope like your top 8 players can just outcompete the Thunder's 15 somehow.
Yeah.
Um, and the Lakers, complete opposite of that. Like you got your starters, and then there's everyone else.
Bro. Even the
It just doesn't
coaching
help.
was kind of head scratching.
Yeah, but like that one like close game where it's like Rui Hachimura has been on fire all game. We need a three. We're taking out Rui Hachimura. Put in Maxi Kleber. He's not seen the court since like February. Okay, bro. Like, yeah, just throw away the game, I guess. Um, yeah, and yeah, I'm not excited to see what the Lakers do, only because it's going to be rumor after rumor and probably a whole lot of nothing. Like I'm already seeing Giannis rumors. I'm like, you have nothing to give up for Giannis.
Yeah.
So it's going to be dreadful hearing about them. And then OKZ, they're the team to beat. We'll see if the Spurs got it in them.
Yeah, and yeah, why don't we trans over to the Spurs Wolves? Spurs won 4-2. Probably, like I said, probably my favorite series so far. Um, it was Ant, stealing game one from the Spurs. It was Wemby playing the best basketball I've seen him play, like so far. It was trash talking, elbows being thrown. It was just such an entertaining series. How did you feel about the series? How do you feel about the Spurs and the Wolves?
I can't be mad at the Wolves. They gave everything they could have.
Yeah,
Um, like Dante going out, Io playing through injury, Anthony Edwards playing through injury. Rudy Gobert has been playing some of his best basketball, of his career, almost like legacy saving, I would say.
yeah,
So, like, if you lose like this, okay, you move on. If there's any dark spot, I want to say on the team, it was Julius Randle not being able to score. That's, I mean, you're going against Wemby, who could easily, come off Rudy Gobert to come and block you or contest you. It gave him trouble. I don't know. He just couldn't find a way to be truly effective.
Yeah.
Part of that's on him. Part of them is that on the coach, perhaps, and then that's just also going up against a generational 7 footer. I wonder what the move is. Do they move on from Julius Randle? Can they move on from Julius Randle? I don't know who the suitors would be. Um, or maybe does Julius Randle stay and some shift elsewhere happens? I have a hard time picturing that, but anything's possible. I still think they need a true point guard. Like Io has been great for them, but he's not a true point guard.
No, he's like Jamal
Like,
Murray.
yeah, like he can get you a bucket. He's nice with it, but like to set up the offense, that's not him.
Yeah.
And then as far as the Spurs go, Dylan Harper's a rookie, bro. He does not look like it one bit. Like the moves he's making, I'm like, is this just a younger, faster Chris Paul? Like there's like yeah, they have their generational point guard for the future right here. And this is not to mention Stephon Castle existing too. Him hitting threes, like this is what he's been doing all along. Like for that to come out in the playoffs is insane enough.
Yeah.
Um, and it's kind of wild these two guards have been as good as they have been because I'm not even thinking De'Aaron Fox. Like De'Aaron Fox isn't like had the biggest presence in these playoffs, but he's still contributing. It kind of makes me wonder: do they hang on to De'Aaron Fox like for the next 1 or 2 seasons, or do they try to find an upgrade? At their wing depth. I don't know. I It's just so many question marks for a team that is still in the mix, right? They're still in the playoffs. They're still succeeding. Um, but I've got all these question marks just from this one series.
Yeah.
Like, even like a Harrison Barnes has been a contributor. If you could just find more like, oh, Julian Champagny as well. That man's been feasting on rebounds, like very timely, necessary rebounds. Like even in games they lost against the Wolves, like his presence was always there. So yeah, it's just shout out Spurs.
Yeah, bro.
I don't know how you're gonna do against OKC, um, but it's got to start and end with Wemby, I think.
Yeah.
But like we even saw, I think it was game one of Timberwolves. Wemby was not scoring, but he got a triple double with blocks. So like you stop him one way, he's gonna find another way to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. It's actually insane how like how many like questions we have from this series just because of how well the basketball is being played. But you look at the Timberwolves, who absolutely dismantled the Nuggets, got 2 games against the Spurs, and they were depleted almost the entire series. Like almost the entire playoffs, even they were depleted. And so now you're looking at Timberwolves like, oh, this is a team that can, you know, could win a championship if they just made the changes people been begging for years. Um, but like, yeah, dude, like Ant is insane. Ayo Dosunmu looks like he can, squeeze into a rotation. I think the big issue I'm having with the Timberwolves is that like the contributors like Gobert and Randall, like those guys and Conley, like you can't keep relying on those guys forever. Conley for sure. It blows my mind that Conley is still like as pivotal to the Timberwolves as he is. And it's not anything against him, but it's just like guys, you gotta get a playmaking point guard. Like you can't keep relying on this, you know, middle-aged man to carry you through the playoffs and regular season. Like it can't keep happening this way. And then you have, Randall, who like I feel like he was always questionably a fit on this team. It feels like the only time he signs is when like no one else is shining. Like he's more of like a, you know, if Ant is having a slow night, if you know DiVincenzo, anyone else is having a slow night, and Randall can still win them that game. But I feel like it might be time to part ways with him and get someone who can complement the team a little bit more. And then, but like all around though, like the Timberwolves, I'm hoping that next season we can go into it saying they're contenders because every offseason this happens where they do really well in the playoffs and then they do absolutely nothing to upgrade and it's like okay well now I'm kind of unsure if they're contenders or not because they haven't really done anything and I feel like they can't do it again this year like they need to take a big swing and then the Spurs yeah why don't we transition to Spurs Thunder I think the Spurs are gonna do good against the Thunder, but I think watching them against the Blazers and the Wolves, I think it's shown that they do have a like they're not completely ironclad as the way everyone has been painting them. They're still a young team, so it's impressive that they're even at the conference finals. But at the same time, you have the Thunder and their diamond armor versus the Spurs and their iron armor. It's like, they're both really good teams, but I feel like the Thunder are just a lot more complete as a whole versus the Spurs, where De'Aaron Fox has kind of been absent all playoffs. Um, you know, Stephon Castle, shout out to Eugene. I think I was sleeping on Stephon Castle because that man has been shining. Keldon Johnson has been shining, but also at the same time, like you mentioned, the Spurs are still a little bit thin. Like Bismack Biyombo has been getting playing time, bro. Like that's crazy, and it's not a lot, but it's crazy that he's seeing the floor at all. Like that's insane to me. So like it's just like I feel like the Spurs still have a little bit more to build upon, and the Thunder are already fully complete. And I feel like yes, Wemby is going to be the reason why they win the series because he has to shut down Chet, he has to be offensively complete, but at the same time, if it starts and ends with Wemby, but the Thunder, you know, they can get just one night over Wemby, and that could be the series. That can just be oh we figured it out, and now they're just lighting everything up.
Yeah, I was gonna say like maybe the hole in the armor is that Jalen Williams hasn't been healthy to play really,
Yeah,
but they also just won two series basically without him. Um,
yeah,
so it's not the issue. If they're going to win, it's just Wemby can't struggle, and then someone, not even someone. I think they all have to be at least decent from 3 point range, especially when because Wemby shooting the three and making them opens up so much for Castle and Harper and everyone who wants to play fast and get to the rim.
yeah,
But I don't know if OKC allows that. There's just like between Chet, Isaiah Hartenstein, they somehow have the perfect chemistry on court together, whether it's on offense or defense.
yeah.
Um,
And I feel like that
they
combo is getting underrated too, because I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, Wemby's gonna feast on Chet." Bro, it's not just Chet, bro. It's Hartenstein that's gonna be on that man as well, and that's two great defenders guarding a young player. Like, yes, Wemby's generational. He's literally a once in a lifetime player. But at the same time, he's still so young. And when you throw two like NBA high level defensive caliber players at him, that's gonna make his life so much harder.
Yeah, like bro, even on offense, they're throwing oops to each other. Like,
Yeah, bro.
what big men do this? Like they're the only one I've seen do this at the rate they do it. But yeah, I think that Timberwolves series has taught him like Wemby can't lose his cool, which it
Yeah,
feels like a lot of teams do against OKC.
yeah,
You can't get thrown out the game. If you do, you just lose. You just lose.
yeah,
Um, and like he sees how damaging it is if he can't score. The game is so much harder for everyone else if he gets limited in his presence. So at least he knows he's taken away those lessons. You could see it, but it's just a matter of like if he runs into it against OKC, does he overcome that, or does he just get swallowed up and they end up losing because of it?
Yeah,
Like the lessons have been laid out. It's just a matter of whether he can, put it to practice and beat this team.
yeah,
I just have such a struggle envisioning they beat them 4 times.
dude. I can't.
Like I know in the regular season they were very competitive against each other. Wemby has history of chat and all that, but like no matter how much he wants it, this is still his first playoff series or first playoff run ever. Um, so I fear we may have more lessons to learn coming
Yeah,
up in this next series.
yeah. And like I feel like again, we're like you mentioned, um, it's 15 versus 8. Like I feel like a lot of people are looking at the series as, oh, it's SGA, Chet, Jalen, and Caruso against, Stahon Castle, Wemby. Like, no, bro. It's literally the entire Thunder roster versus the Spurs 7, like first 7, first 8. Like, Wemby can't do it on his own. And so, like, it's also Dylan Harper's first playoff run, Stephon Castle's first playoff run, De'Aaron Fox's second playoff run. Like, these are all guys who have no experience against the Thunder, who've been in the postseason since like 2020, bro. Like, a lot of these guys have been here before already. They've suffered. We saw Luka dominate them. They won a championship. Like, they basically gone through the ups and downs every team needs to be experienced in the playoffs, and the Thunder are there. They're so fully like ready for this moment that I feel like, yes, the regular season, the Spurs got a lot of games over the Thunder, but it's not the regular season anymore, and it's a completely different game, and I feel like the Spurs also have added so much since then that, like, not the Spurs, the Thunder, Jared McCain, a lot of guys are stepping up out of nowhere this playoff run. They're looking good without Jalen Williams. Like, it's like if the Spurs want to win this series, they really do have to be like perfect. And I feel like they can't be perfect for 4 games. Like, I just can't see them being perfect every single game.
Like we've been talking about like how OKC feels basically invincible, but last year they went to 7 against the Nuggets.
Yeah,
Like they're not this, unstoppable machine. It can be done. But
yeah,
like you said, the Spurs have to be perfect.
yeah. And so that's our playoff recap: Spurs, Thunder, and then New York Knicks versus whichever B-rated trash comes out of the Cavs Pistons. Um, we do have some time left, and I kind of want to get into this topic. We want to do MVPs and LVPs of the playoffs so far. We're basically at the finish line. Um, you know, it's pretty much solidified, which teams look successful and which teams look like frauds. So we also don't want to just include teams. We're talking players, coaches, media, fan bases, whatever may be the case. Why don't you kick us off on? Why don't we start with LVP so that way we can end our show on our positive note? So LVPs
Oh, it's
first.
I've already talked about him, but Jalen Duren, bro.
Yeah,
If Jalen Duren even got subbed out in favor of Paul Reed, if Paul Reed of all people was the starter in certain games, I think they would have won like 2 more games. They wouldn't be in 7 with the Cavs right now.
yeah,
Like the it's it. I don't know if it's like at the start he struggled and that fed into his mentality and now he's not focused. But like except for that last game, he's been making like silly mistakes at like Cade giving him a pass on a shot fake
yeah,
and he wasn't expecting it and he misses the pass and it goes out of bounds. Or like it feels like he's got DeAndre Ayton's hands right now. He can't catch a pass in certain instances. Um, but it's stuff like that you can't do as an all-star. As a guy who was primed to get, a max contract. People have already saying like he's lost tens of millions of dollars just from this playoffs alone.
Yeah.
And I like if I'm the Pistons, like I would feel awful giving him a contract if this is the way he's gonna be. There's nothing that says this won't happen again.
Yeah.
And the only reason why you could think about giving him a max contract is because another team will, and you'll lose him for nothing. But I think if you're the Pistons, you might be okay losing him for nothing because think he's like a classic big man. He scores around the bucket. You might be able to just find a better contributor, maybe not even at the center spot for Cade, as a secondary creator. You might be better off letting him walk, especially if you can get a Paul Reed or Isaiah Stewart, give you similar effectiveness for much, much cheaper,
Yeah.
or even just like a different center on the market who's half the price. So it's not a discussion that even should have been had. Should we let Duran walk or pay him his money? But like, you got Asar Thompson who you're gonna have to pay at some point too. I don't think you want a Duran, Asar, Cade taking up like 60% or more of your cap space. I think you're not going to be competitive that way. So it's been such a disastrous run for Duran. I think it just changes not the shape of his career, but the fate of the franchise as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, my LVP is Jalen Duran.
Yeah, bro. I have no choice but to agree. I think what you mentioned stands out to me the most is like he's a traditional big man, so like maybe it's best to let him walk if because like at the same time, yes, he's making very stupid mistakes, but his big man game also looks so poor. It looks like teams have figured it out. And if you're gonna be asking for a max contract and you're a traditional big man, which is already kind of eyebrow raising to most people, I'm not one of those people. I kind of liked the way he played in the regular season. I thought he was gonna succeed, but obviously I was wrong because like teams could ice him out of a game with ease. It feels like, and like so you're asking for a max contract. You have a play style that most people already don't want, and it was proven to not be efficient. Yeah, bro, like you're doomed. Like you're not gonna get that max contract. And it's just sad to see because like I just feel like he's not only is he making dumb mistakes, but it's just like, bro, when I watched him sometimes again in that Magic series, dribbling the ball in the post and then like hitting underneath the rim. Like it's like you don't look like you don't look like an all-star. You look like a guy who like is getting phased out of the league. You look like an archetype that shouldn't be around anymore. And that's not how he was looking like 2 months ago he wasn't looking like this.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is that like happened in like the playoffs, but like it's like bad post moves, it's no bag work, it's awful shots, it's no offense. It's just like this man is looking like a shell of his former self. He looks like Zach Randolph in the last few years in the league. Like it's like yeah, you're a good post player, but it's not 2010 anymore, bro. Like yeah, that's what it looks like right now.
I'll say this, he's got one saving grace, and that's he's really young. He's
Yeah,
still like only 22, 23.
yeah,
So there's room to grow. Um, Especially like a lot to take away from, this playoff run, and maybe he does add to his game. But like, is he going to transition out of being a traditional center? Like, I can't see him reshaping the entire way he changes.
yeah,
It's like I don't think NBA executives are looking at him like prime real estate if he's just going to be this, but maybe better.
yeah,
Like you don't know, like is this has he hit his ceiling already?
yeah,
Because I don't know. The only way I could see him improving is just him ironing out his game, and even then, that would still be prone to the similar game plans. Like bro's getting outworked by Wendell Carter Jr. in the first round. Like if you can just get outworked, how do I pay you $200 million? I don't know.
Yeah, it is kind of insane. Yeah, it's head scratching for sure. My LVP may not be surprising. It's the entire Nuggets franchise. And not necessarily the players, but like everything about the Nuggets right now. Um, we got exposed for how little depth we had. We had a team with less available players still show more depth than us. Um, we had a coach who didn't look like he knew what he was doing. We had and like when I say a coach who didn't look like what he was doing, not the criticisms I had before, where like he's not even coaching. It looks like Jokic is the one coaching the team. Like no, bro. Like you could tell that their game plan was run the two man, and that's it. Run the two man, and then if it doesn't work, run the two man again. Like it's just it looks like they had no game plan. The team isn't built any like to win like it was before. The coach shouldn't have been hired in the first place. It's just like the entire franchise as a whole, the way we build the team, the way we treat players, the way we run the team, and the way we do our staffing hires is just all head scratching. And it's just like I don't know what we're gonna do from here on out. I feel like the Nuggets are because we have not only that, but we gave Braun $100 million, bro. And now because of that, we had to get rid of either Watson, Aaron Gordon, Johnson, or all of the above. Even Murray's name was thrown out there. Like what are like these are players, all four of those guys I'd rather have on my team than like Brown.
And the leader of your franchise,
Then
you mean? The
yeah.
leader of this team?
Well, not yeah, exactly. Or not only that, but like it's crazy that we had to get rid of mostly all of those guys. Maybe like I said, the three I named before Murray. Like we might have to get rid of all three of them because we just don't have the money to pay any of them. And it's like, why did we give that man 100 M's in the first place? It's just like we don't like. Why did we sign Bruce Brown to a 1 year? Why did we go after you know what's his name?
Tim Hardaway
No, not Tim.
Jr.?
The big man we signed. I'm forgetting his name.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jonas Valanciunas.
Valanciunas. Like, why did we go after Valanciunas just to like not play him? That man already didn't want to play for us. We forced him to play with us, and then we gave him no minutes in the playoffs. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, especially the Timberwolves, it would have felt like that was the time to throw Valanciunas out there. When Rudy Gobert's out there, Jokic gets rest. You tire out Rudy Gobert some more, and if they throw out Naz Reid instead of the defensive-minded guy, then maybe Valanciunas can cook a little bit on offense. But we saw literally nothing of him basically.
Yeah, bro.
It was just maybe like 3 minutes here, and that was it for the whole game. Like the whole reason he was there was to relieve, like to not be DeAndre Jordan, who was unplayable.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't know. Coaching staff decided, no, Jokic, you got to play the whole game.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and I can't even be like it was only the coaching staff or no players weren't showing up. And as you said, the depth, wasn't what should have been. So that's on the GM. Um, yeah, I don't know what the bright spots are to take away heading into next season or in this off season. 'Cause, like, if you're gonna get rid of Christian Brown to save, those 3 or 4 players, you're probably gonna have to give up like a first round draft pick or two just to get him off your books.
yeah.
Um, and it's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, it is rough, and I don't know where to go. Like the off season is scary this year, bro. Because anything can happen with the Nuggets this off season. I mean, last off season we had the GM talking about, or the owner, I think it was actually not the GM, who was like, who knows, we might have to trade Jokic because of the new salary rule. Like now, flash forward to this off season, and that salary rule, is getting is like actually hurting us right now. Like Jamal Murray, like everyone's except Jokic, of course, which like thank God, but everyone who I want to keep on the team has been brought up. Murray, Gordon, Watson. I'm okay with Cameron Johnson leaving. Like that's fine with me. He was just another Michael Porter Jr. I've always said that. He was just a little bit more efficient, which like at the end of the day, that efficiency was nowhere to be found in the playoffs. So like he was just another Michael Porter Jr. but cheaper. So getting rid of Cameron Johnson, sir, but like Aaron Gordon is like Jokic was so mad at us for trading Russell Westbrook, bro. Imagine if we trade Aaron fucking Gordon. We might never see that man in a Nuggets jersey ever again if that happens. Jamal Murray, Watson, who's like our only young player I'm personally really excited for, both defensively and offensively, and he's also getting brought up. So this offseason is terrifying. We still haven't fired a coach. Like no announcement on the coach firing. No rumors about the coach being fired. Literally nothing. If that chipmunk looking motherfucker is on the sideline again next year, I gotta cut that out. I can't leave that in. I can't leave that in. If that man is on the
Oh, man.
sideline again for us next year, I am gonna be so heated. It's gonna be crazy. I might only root for my wheel team next year if that man is still coaching.
Yeah, like I'm not jealous of you. And like I feel like I should be in a similar position where my favorite team lost first round, but I just don't feel any of that type of pressure. I like as much as the media wants to push, oh, Jalen Brown's disgruntled. Oh, he might get traded. I no, if you're a Celtic fan, I don't think you would believe it. Especially since Brad Stevens said nothing of the sort. Jalen Brown said no frustration,
Yeah,
and I have no reason to disbelieve it. I think if there's any like crazy of a move, maybe Peyton Pritchard or Derek White get moved. But I trust Brad Stevens enough to know what he's doing. So I'm not in your position where I'm like, my GM's never done anything for me, or our coach has soured, any move that's ever been made. Like, no, I feel okay.
yeah.
Um,
But also your team was not expected to even like get there in the first place. Like I
yeah,
think,
like I was lucky to even see them in the
yeah.
playoffs in the first place, to be honest.
My team was literally labeled contender from like this time last year. We were labeled a contender. Like people have been all series, all off season, all regular season, and then up until the Timberwolves series, we were being told people were saying these are contenders. They have the best chance of beating OKC to get to the finals, and we couldn't even get past the Timberwolves.
Bro, I was one of them. I think my preseason prediction for championship was the Nuggets, and I let that 7 game series with the Thunder fool me into ignoring all of the defensive, weak points
Yeah.
that showed itself throughout the regular season. But here
See,
we are. I don't think I've ever once predicted my preseason champ correctly. I think I've been far off every single time.
didn't we say Thunder last year? I thought we all agreed on Thunder last year.
Uh, Last year I think I said Celtics, to be honest.
Did you?
I might have said Celtics.
I think I said Thunder
Um,
last year, but that's because that was so obvious. There was a year you said Clippers,
I did. Oh, yeah, I did say Clippers, didn't I?
and
Never again, bro.
the year that the Celtics won. I think me and you agreed that the Celtics were gonna win.
Maybe. Yeah, I probably would have.
Yeah,
If that was the Drew Holiday Porzingis, yeah, I probably would have.
but anyways, yeah, but you were like on that train. I was kind of off of it, but in the sense of I think we are contenders, but everyone is saying we're the clear favorites. I'm a pessimist. Like, keep that in mind. I am not one of those fans of NBA. Like, I'm not an NBA team fan who is always thinks his team is gonna win. I think I'm not even close to that. I am a pessimistic ass guy. Like when the Nuggets won the championship, I was still doubting them the entire time. just because I hate to have hope, because when I have hope, they do shit like this, bro.
I
But
used to be the same way. I used to be like, no, there's no way my team's going to be that good. And then when they win a chip, I'm like, okay, I'll see a cup of delusion, I'll read it, but I'll still drink it
yeah,
just because it feels good.
yeah,
I know it's delusion, but like I feel better this way.
yeah. I had more delusion the year after, but like this year, I was kind of doubting it almost the entire time. I was like, yeah, we're contenders, but like, I don't know. I when we like Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Valanciunas, like, and then Michael Porter Jr., but discount did not make me think we're gonna win it all. And I feel like even I was still kind of wrong because I was like, oh, but at least we'll do better than we did last year. No, bro, like we did worse. All right, and an MVP. Who is your MVP of the postseason, Vaughn?
Um, MVP. Probably the Thunder's coach, bro. Not putting roster aside, it feels like he has an answer for every question the opposite poses. Like JJ Redick was thrown out, some crazy lineups. Marcus Smart was looking like he rewinded the clock 5 years. Um, and it didn't matter. It just every time they would look good, coach would put in the right five men for offense, defense, whatever they needed. They needed rebounding. He's like, here's this, and then he's never ever lost the locker room.
Yeah,
It's just the players love him. The coaching staff, he's picked everyone necessary, and he's probably on his way to a repeat championship. It just we don't see that like since the 2020s. We don't see it. Maybe I'm getting too ahead of myself, but it really feels like this is a repeat, the first repeat of the 2020s. And Mike Dagnall really needs, his props, I would say. Um, like, and he's like not ever what I expected him to be. When I first heard Mike Dagnall is now the head coach of the OKC Thunder, I'm like, who? Um, but like he's been there through, when they missed the playoffs, when they're a play-in team, and now they're a championship team. And now he just knows how to right the ship whenever it starts going too left, too right. He's got every answer, and I'm jealous. You know, like he adjusts on the fly so well versus my team. I love Coach Missoula, but he's very rigid in his ways. And Mike Dagnall is just the opposite of that.
yeah. No, I full heartedly like agree that this man is like needs way more praise than he's received so far. Like Steve Kerr, like that man had nothing but superstars on his team, and he still kind of fumbles the bag with those lineups. This guy, it's like he could get anyone to play a decent level of basketball. And like earlier when we were talking about how like it seems like they're just taking turns and there's no ego, it seems like is a big reason for that. It feels like any time like a player is on fire, is doing better than they normally do, instead of doing that head scratching thing that like I've been seeing a lot recently, where like they let that guy be on fire, and it's like, okay, now let's get our starter back in there to carry the momentum. Like, no, what he does is, okay, this guy's on fire. I'm not taking him out of the game until like he messes up. Then I'll take him out. Like he lets these guys carry the momentum. He puts like, okay, like you're gonna ball out today. I'm gonna put more on your shoulder. I'm gonna see how much more you can handle. And 9 times out of 10, those guys step up. I mean, he's probably the reason why Jared McCain, is looking so much better this year on the Thunder than he has the rest of the year when he was on the Sixers. When he was on the Sixers, he was looking like he was a G League player. He was looking
Yeah.
like he was out of the league, and that injury ruined him. Now he's on the Thunder, and he's looking like he could be a starter, an All Star again. Like it's insane how well he is able at like their chess pieces almost like he has his weapons, but then he also relies on the bench. He relies on like certain players and schemes, and then when things don't go like when things are going well, instead of being like okay it's time to like get back into our game plan instead of like panicking. He like he's so fluid, it's insane. So yeah, I completely agree with you. It's like that man should get way more praise than he has been so far. Because like, I don't think any coach can like with a team like the Thunder, you have to be an insanely talented coach to be able to do what he's doing. Like probably should have lost the locker room by now, like most coaches do. Look at Mike Brown, bro. That man was out of Sacramento so quickly.
Bro, even like the Bucks had Adrian Griffin and they were winning games and they turned on him and he got fired.
Yeah,
So there's different ways to lose your job, and Mike Dagnall has dodged all of them. Like I love the way, you know, we could give all the praise to Sam Presti for creating this roster, but like we've seen time and time again, like oh this guy should get more playing time and he doesn't, and like maybe a player doesn't become who they were meant to be because the opportunity wasn't there. But Mike Dagnall hasn't been afraid through the regular season to now of giving those opportunities and fostering and developing, what he expects from the team and
yeah.
uh, rewards his players. So that's what I love.
I don't know if my answer is gonna be acceptable, but I was gonna say the Hornets. Um, just because they actually had a real chance of going to the playoffs. And when was the last time we were able to say that word, bro? When was the last time we were going to say Hornets and then playoffs in the same sentence? And I feel like they have just been, they just look so complete more than ever this year. And I'm actually excited for them, bro. Um, my real answer is Coach Finch. um, I feel like, you know, I was shocked when you said Mike Dagnall because I was like, fuck, I don't want to go back to back coaches. But I got to give him praise, bro. That game six against the Nuggets, he was on the sideline telling players where to be, telling players how to play the offense. He was in Terrence Shannon's junior year. He was in, uh, he was just like basically running the floor more than I've ever seen a coach do so before. You look at college coaches and they do that a lot. College coach will be like, you need to fill that gap, press here, But in NBA, I feel like the coaches will sometimes, they'll wait until the huddle. They'll do the lineups. They'll just rely on the tactics a little bit more. They kind of take a step back when it's actually the time to play the game. Whereas Coach Finch, as the game is in play, as the ball is in play, he was conducting the Wolves. And when like screens were coming, he would call screen. He would tell players to switch, and it was like this man is literally like on the sideline playing 2K in real life. Like it was insane. It was something I haven't seen in the NBA like in so long. And like I want to say like one of the reasons why the Timberwolves won in Game 6 was because of Finch just like pulling out that performance.
It's funny you say that because so many Timberwolves hate this man. I think it has something to do with his love for putting Mike Conley out there.
Yeah,
But if you look at the guard spot, like he doesn't have a whole lot of choice because he's the only one with the wisdom of a point guard. Because it's Bones, who's a bucket getter, Io DeSomo, who's a bucket getter, none playmakers.
yeah,
Um, we've seen, all this responsibility put on Anthony Edwards, who's not a natural playmaker, and it leads to turnovers or bad, ugly shots, and be it what have you. And I don't love Mike Conley being out there for a lot of those stretches, but like if you need that, you need that, and that's just what Finch has decided. And but you like what you said, he is an active coach. He's not a Darvin Ham, who's just kind of like, what are you doing on the sideline? What are you getting paid all those M's for? But yeah, he's an active coach. I don't think half of the coaches could have gotten what he got out of like a depleted roster.
yeah,
Like they could not have won a playoff series missing, two guys and whatnot. So it's it is impressive that they got this far and when contending against the 7-footer Frenchman who a lot of teams don't have an answer for. It's just unfortunate they ran into Spurs, second round.
Yeah.
This could be another Western Conference. Had the luck been a little different, uh, could have been a Western Conference showing for the third year in a row.
Yeah,
But
definitely, bro.
you can only do so much. So I do appreciate. They were my wheel spin team, so I did get to see a lot of Timberwolves this year, and as much as some of the fans say fire Finch, I don't think you're finding a whole lot of replacements that do better than what he does.
Yeah. I didn't even know people wanted him to be fired because, like, I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like, you can't be mad at him for playing the only playmaker he has. Like, you can't
Right.
be mad at that. Like, I don't know. It is funny though because like I feel like this is one of those times where, like you mentioned, you put any other coach in that position, will they do the same thing? Will they be able to get their team past that finish line, or would they instantly grumble? Like you, like he was willing to put in so many guys and rely on so many people who like haven't really seen playing time. Like we've seen in the past when people go down that like they just put more weight on their actual stars than rather than the guys coming in for them. And I feel like what he did this playoff run was really impressive. All right. Well, before we go, any honorable mentions for LVP or MVP?
Damn it, DeAndre Ayton, bro, LVP.
No
That man, I heard he could be leaving the Lakers for a bigger contract. Buddy, I don't think you're getting a bigger contract.
way.
Uh, It's like I don't know if you've seen it, but I see the lip syncing videos of JJ Redick frustrated with DeAndre Ayton. Like, I can't play him. Like, yeah, he is so consistent and not giving effort. Like, it makes me question why I believed at him at any point. Like, I'm like, oh, new scenery in the Trailblazers. This will be good for him. Same issue. Oh, now that he's in a big market like LA, he'll have to be better. No, bro.
It's
No, he is
crazy.
not.
I never seen a guy more mad to be paid millions to play a sport. It's like, bro, like this is Ben Simmons level of I don't want to be here. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy, and then they do like, and then no way these reports of like Aiton's crunk juice or whatever the hell it's called, like dominating, like no way that's actually like helping him. Like I feel like all of this is just like it's like we're talking about a toddler here. You like oh you have
Yeah.
to call him dominating or else he won't care anymore, and oh make sure you label his water Aiton's crunk juice or else he will get really upset and not try, and he'll sulk on the bench the entire time. Like, bro, what are we talking about? You're a grown man. You're a grown man, and the most of the reports that are coming out about you is how you literally act like a spoiled brat, bro, and that's insane. You're not good enough to be acting this way. Yeah,
Yeah. Like, who did he think he was getting the ball? Like, over Luca, LeBron, even Reeves, man. Even Rui Hachimura, who's like one of the most efficient through the playoffs. You thought you were getting the ball over all those guys? Like, especially when like you get tossed the ball, it'll be straight to your hands. You find a way to drop that ball, let it bounce out of bounds. It's crazy.
yeah,
This is never a player I would want on my team. I've seen
no,
enough of him.
yeah, no way, bro. Send that man to Shanghai. Um, my honorable mention is also an LVP, even though I was hoping we would end this on a positive note. But it's KD. How many times have you heard, besides Chris Paul, which I feel like was a smear campaign, how many times have you heard that a player lost the locker room? Like that's insane, bro. How do you like all of your teammates? The series is still being played, by the way. The series isn't over yet. You still have at least two more games. And the players are talking about how you're not doing what you need to do and you're a hindrance and you need to worry about yourself and we're better without him. Like that's wild. This is a team that like should be happy you're there. They're young guys who like you're a vet. Like I'm starting to believe the tweets where it's like, anyone wonder why Katie is almost 40 with no wife and kid? Like, I'm starting, I'm starting to get why that person tweeted that, bro. I'm starting to understand because how does this keep happening to you where like teams don't want you around? Like, it's not once, it's not twice. This is like the third time it's happened now.
Yeah, like even just excusing the fact he hasn't led a team, to access a successful playoff run since the Warriors. It really is just like him. I mean, if the tweets and secret group chats are to believe, like he doesn't take any accountability. It's everyone else's fault but his. And like the one playoff game we saw of him, he had 9 turnovers, and he'll probably still find a way to blame the rest of the team, not him.
Yeah.
Which, like, for such a good player, it's such a taint on his legacy. Like that he was this kind of like toxic guy in the locker room. Because we have enough of like the Nets or OKC, no matter where it is, the Suns. It's just like this reoccurring issue where he's like not a good teammate. And I think this is the biggest I want to say it's ever exploded because it's destroyed in the team's confidence in him, whether it be coach or players, and it's you could see it on the court. Like I see players bickering among the Rockets players, and I'm like, I don't know if it's because it's after the KD stuff came out, everyone was like honing in, focusing on it, and flipping it far more often than other teams. Like I'm sure this happens on other teams, but like I've only ever seen it to this rate on the Rockets.
Yeah.
And it took its toll, and they're out in the first round, and they have big questions now. So I wonder if KD's even going to be there. I would be shocked if we see him next year in a Rockets uniform,
Yeah.
because it was that damaging.
Well, what's crazy, two things that you said stood out to me. First off, it's the fastest we've seen this happen. Like, that couldn't be like really to paint the picture. This man has been on the Rockets for one season, and he already has a team against him. At least with the Nets, the Warriors, the Suns, whatever is the case, it took a while. It was a slow build up, and then everything kind of exploded at the end of it. This man
Mhm.
just got there, and it already exploded. Like that's wild. And then the second thing that you said that stood out to me is that they were bickering. Like we've seen this before. Was it 2 years ago? Maybe three, where the Rockets were actually in the playoffs or was it play-ins? I'm not quite sure, but they just looked atrocious. They weren't going for rebounds. They were taking bad shots. They were all playing like AAU ball. But the excuse at the time was that they were a young team full of egos. Now you flash forward, and it's like this is more of a veteran team than it was before. Like they still have a lot of young guys, but now you have like Fred on there, KD, um, and then like a lot of the guys who are on the team then are a lot older now. And it's the same issue, it's the exact same issue where Rockies players just can't get along. And like I wonder what it is about that franchise that just turns that like they just don't like care more about the drama than they do the actual game.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we had for y'all today. Let us know who you think is gonna win these conference finals: Spurs, Thunder, Knicks. And also let us know, you know, who you think the LVP and MVPs of the playoffs so far has been. We should be back next week. Um, So make sure you subscribe on YouTube for that video format, like and subscribe there. Also, if you're listening on past podcast platforms, give us a good old 5 stars, leave a review. I'm thinking we're gonna do early conference MVPs. Kind of predict who we think will be a conference MVP for both East and West. Not quite sure yet, but that's kind of what I'm thinking we're gonna go. So if you're interested in that, make sure you tune in. We're also on all social media platforms at Spin the Rock, so make sure you follow us for clips, episode updates, and all that good stuff. All right. Well, we appreciate you listening, and we'll see you again next week.